So you want an undeniable monster win when it comes to JD? Well, look no further than the media right now, who cannot stop repeating the mantra. JD wins. JD wins. Again and again, they have to say it. Some go even further, noting that it's a major victory when it comes to the ongoing legal battle. And many of these mainstream outlets that have never talked about what was going on fully, that have automatically shilled for that nameless person, they're now talking about what was going on behind the scenes, how certain organizations were involved. Yeah, this is how you wake up tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands of people. This is how you turn tides. You and I were going to talk about this. Oh man, this stuff. Good times. Fun times indeed. So like I was saying at the beginning of this isn't just a huge win for JD because of the courtroom. This is a huge, undeniable win because the media, they can't ignore this. And when they start talking about it, more and more people, they see what's going on. And look at what these media outlets are talking about. Here, for example, you can see in the headline, they talk about charitable donations. Charitable donations is part of everything going on. But when you start looking at the details that are embedded in these articles, well, like I was saying at the beginning, you're going to have tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people that are going to see information that they've never seen. They're going to hear about organizations, how they plotted to put this stuff together. And yeah, it's going to lay out something that does not look like what they saw before, which was basically a contentious battle where that guy over there, he's somehow the problem. Quote, the subpoenas were for quote-unquote discovery concerning any donation to the ACLU Foundation by that nameless person or in her name and or any public statement related to such donations, communications with that nameless person or those acting on her behalf concerning her relationship with JD and the divorce from JD, discovery concerning that nameless person's work as a quote-unquote ambassador for the ACLU Foundation and the conception, drafting, and placement of the op-ed, and communications with that nameless person or those acting on her behalf concerning the Virginia action and the preparation and submission of the Wisner Declaration. Other outlets, they've gone even further, like USA Today, for example. They included two things right off the bat that I noticed. One of these is about CHLA. They talk about CHLA. They talk about how this certain nameless person, they had said that they donated in the past, but as far as JD's business advisor in 2019 had determined, there had been no payments made beyond the initial payment. Again, that's taken to task something that we already have proof of. And yeah, they're showing this to hundreds of thousands of people. Beyond that, though, you have something that I have never ever seen any of these mainstream outlets report. This would be a bombshell to a layman if they saw this for the first time. And this, it's talking about the biasing effect that it could have had, and I think it did have when it comes to the UK decision. Quote, in March, JD was refused an appeal after his lawyer argued that that nameless person's donation pledge was a quote-unquote calculated and manipulative lie that, quote, tipped the scales against JD from the very beginning. Beyond that, many of these outlets are reporting something else that I have never ever seen before. And if they have reported it, they always muddy the waters, as it were, and that's his side of the story. You know, typically, when they would report this, well, look at GQ back when. GQ actually apologized for allowing him to speak, allowing his side of the story to be told. But after this decision, you have outlets like the USA Today. They're saying things like this. And again, they talk about this Plus, they say, as evidence, he also added. But JD went a step further in the Virginia case in May 2019, saying while mixing prescription amphetamines and non-prescription drugs with alcohol, she accosted him, basically. You can see all of these things she physically did. Plus, she also repeatedly and frequently threw objects at me, including heavy bottles, soda cans, burning candles, television remotes, paint thinner cans, which severely injured me. Now, on top of that, you have this, and I think this is a profound statement. Why? Because it ends the article on a discussion from his point of view. You have the discussion talking about evidence. How many times do you see anyone discussing evidence from his side of things? You also have a conversation about Australia. You know what happened to a fingertip. You end on that. You don't have them trying to refute it from her point of view. You simply end on what he's saying. Again, how many times have you seen anything like that happen? Something has indeed changed. If you want proof that something has changed out there, well, look no further than this statement. It may not seem like a lot. I mean, we're just talking about a sentence here. But listen to this. I mean, truly drink it in. It's obviously been a very messy legal battle. Okay, that's just a basic statement. But a good portion of the public seems to believe JD's version of events. Now, what's even more telling is how they follow up that statement. Because in the past, they would have followed it up with something like, they're just a bunch of fangirls. Or, this noise online, it's motivated by a bunch of sexists. But instead of doing that, they follow it up with one of the most damaging pieces of evidence that has ever been produced when it comes to that certain nameless person. Yeah, the voice recording. The one that says this, quote, "Tell the world, JD, tell them, JD, a man, I am a victim too of domestic violence, and see how many people believe or side with you." See, in my opinion, I think the media, they're having a pretty tough time shilling for that certain nameless person these days, because there's so much irrefutable evidence that's been provided. They know, too, after this decision here, that there's going to be even more information coming out. And let me tell you, those places, they know what this evidence looks like. They know that this organization here, they aren't somebody that just got donated to. They're a co-conspirator in all of this stuff. You can see it laid out plainly in their letters, in their discussions of non-disclosure agreements, and talking about skirting around marriages, and in the drafts that have already been provided. They know what's going to come out. They know that they can't shill for that nameless person too much more because, listen and believe, it's falling apart. Big wins, like I said. These are the biggest things. They change the societal tide, and you know what? There is much, much more to come.